we'll talk about it more. But honestly, I've been bored largely through 3 episodes. I'm like, I don't know. Like, we'll finish it. It's what we do. But I'm not excited. We say it about Percy Jackson all the time and Penguin. Like, I'm ready to come back next week and see like the next fold the story takes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the one guy who I watched, he said that who's already seen it. He said 4 is when it really like everything starts picking up. And
hopefully. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Winterwolf here in King Z. We're 4 minutes into our Daredevil Born Again Season 2 review, and we're not going to cut any of that pre-footage out because we were already talking about the show. But, in case you missed that part, I was just saying the review for me, King, it just feels like it's going to be, I'm going to say a lot of the same stuff. Dude, that's my problem with the show. Like, I don't care. I don't care. Dude, when people talk about that the superhero thing has just now got to like the apathy stage, like, dude, I think I'm in it. Like, I think I'm there. And Daredevil Born Again, I think, is like the last straw that broke the apathy back for me. Like, it's been 3 episodes of this show. There's too many characters. There's too many subplots. There's not enough Matt Murdock. There's not enough Daredevil in it for me. Like, I'm over the Kingpin and Vanessa. Like, they could go away now. I'm ready for that to be a thing. Bebe and the deputy mayor, don't care at all. Like, the only interesting thing is, for me anyway, is his former girlfriend, the psychiatrist, who might be female Muse, that you guys kind of talked about, you know, on the live stream on Frostcast like a couple of weeks ago, and then this week. And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that's comic accurate. I looked into it a little bit. I'm kind of intrigued how Trauma would create that character out of a professional. It's very Harley Quinn-ish in a way, you know. Like, that's interesting, but I do. My gut just tells me they're going to flub that too. And then for guys like you that know the characters better, you're going to be like, oh, it's not really what happened, blah, blah, blah. I just feel like that this whole season has just been like a stutter start. But you were just saying somebody you know that's seen the whole thing says episode 4 is like a pedal down moment.
Yep. Episode 4, he said, is where everything kind of takes off with it. He says it really starts picking up there with all the more weirdness. I think it starts with the boxing match.
Oh, the charity event between Fisk and, that's the thing. Like, they've talked about it a couple of times. We saw him sparring, but like, I don't know who the opponent is. Like, is that supposed to be a big deal, or is something just going to happen at the event that kind of propels
something at the event?
Okay, all right.
Well, and then you have like Bullseye just kind of doing his own thing off in the corner.
Like, and again, so Matt Murdock's still responsible for people this dude's killed. Even more now, and I'm like, okay, great. And Karen Page is like Sarah Connor or something now. Like, oh, okay, I guess so. Like, she's laying down cover fire while we're extracting prisoners from a secure black site. Okay, whatever.
Hey, people don't learn how to shoot a gun. She knows how to shoot a gun. In season 3, she was responsible for murdering people.
Yeah, you know what she's not? You know what she's not doing though? Dropping into a combat roll under a truck and then firing off 2 shots under the truck. You know what I mean? But it's cool. Go ahead, Karen, get down with your bad self.
She's been training.
She's been training. She's not Ray at all. She's totally been training between seasons. Off camera. Shooting. Off camera. With Matt, who's blind. Maybe Cherry taught her, I don't know. And speaking of Cherry, this poor guy, you're right. Spoiler alert. Didn't die yet. Good for him. Glad his 90-year-old AARP former cop buddies kept him alive. But,
that was a smooth. It was a
nice little move. Yeah. Nice little move getting him to safety. That was cool. So the episodes 2 and 3 we're going to talk about together as like one big smash up, because like you were just saying, it makes sense why this wasn't the typical Disney MCU first 2 episode drop of a season, because there's a really neat break between the end of episode 1 and the end of episode 3. Like, episodes 2 and 3 do belong together.
Yeah, like they kind of blend together. I wonder if that was the original idea, was that it was one episode and they're like, this is just going too long, and if we cut it to one episode, it won't make sense.
I think so, because like I said, it has a very neatly cut beginning and end point at the either end of those 2 episodes together. So that wouldn't surprise me. But the kind of the crux of this whole thing of episodes 2 and 3 are the first story arc of the season that runs through these 3 episodes, is the ongoing investigation into the port disaster that Daredevil caused by sinking Kingpin's ship. He's making a point to try to recover the evidence from the vessel, because publicly what they're recovering from the shipwreckage are diapers and like other non-sundry type regular everyday items.
Yeah.
But he knows that there's still cargo under the water because he left his wristwatch in one of the military cases and it's still under there. So he knows. So they're trying to work that. We're coming up on the Vigilante trials, which is supposed to be a massive thrust of this season as they still do the AVTF thing, the ice analogy.
It's that this is a tribunal and not a true case.
Right, because they got a panel of judges up there, 3, 5, however many are up there. We still get the ongoing stuff with Kingpin and Vanessa, but that seems like that's a back burner thing. They're no longer at odds, which is like they've resolved that. But I thought it was funny because they're in the spot where Kingpin's saying things to her like, "Well, we've always been enough for each other," and she's agreeing. And I'm like, the whole point of season 1 was that wasn't true. But okay, that's cool.
Well, they were coming back together, but if you look at their marriage before, it was true. Yeah. They had a split and they come back together, so it's actually a true statement. Like when they're together.
But once you got a stain on the record, the word "always" isn't a thing anymore. You know what I mean? But that's neither here nor there. That's nitpicky, whatever. They got that arc. We've got a new arc that's going to come through with the niece of the deceased White Tiger picking up a mantle. We've got another legacy character on our hands here, the young girl, who gets kind of drawn into the darker side of AVT enforcement because her aunt gets picked up by them for intervening as a vigilante,
for assaulting a police officer,
for assaulting an officer, because they were arresting a shopkeeper who drew a gun on an attempted thief. Yeah, that credits him as a vigilante, I guess. I don't know. That's weird.
Yep, it does actually, because he's taking the law into his own hands.
All he did was pick up a gun and defend his property. He didn't chase them. He didn't open fire. And he didn't go after anybody random. He's still just a shopkeeper. That's like saying you're a vigilante if you shoot a guy who breaks into your house.
Technically, by law, you
Castle doctrine. No, you're not. You're not. No. You're a vigilante if you go out of your way to do some shit. This dude was in his shop. Don't be.
It matters how they wrote the law there in New York City,
which is true. But as we know in this world, somehow the Kingpin has more power than like the DA, the governor, and the president.
Yeah,
I guess so. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of story work going on. I don't know how you want to tackle this. We can pick at some plot threads. We can get a general feel out of you, what you thought of the episodes. Like, we know you were cautiously optimistic going into the season. You're a big fan of D'Onofrio and Cox. You were thinking hopefully this just kind of elevates from last year. Where are you at? How do you feel about this whole thing?
I think it's building a good story. I think some people are putting themselves at odds. Like we know that it's Bebe now that has the fake Fisk mask where he's Mayor Kingpin. And then you have a lot of good stories. Like you just see like tension breaking down on his inner circle with the deputy mayor. Does he trying to protect Bebe? Does he kind of knows that it's Bebe, but he's trying to protect her?
100%.
And like he's trying to help in every other way but it always draws back to that. And have you found out who the leech is yet?
Totally not me. They did. I'll give him credit in that one scene. Kingpin felt intimidating. I thought that kid might be dying.
Yeah.
Like, we got there's a rat on the inside. I need you to figure out who it is. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you? Is there anybody here you're trying to protect? And he's like, you? And the Kingpin's like, good answer. I'm like,
yeah, he says, is there anyone in this building you feel obligated to protect? Yep. He's like, you?
Just you, big guy.
Good answer.
I was gonna give him double finger guns on that, like try to like sleaze his way out. But I honestly thought that might have been the end of that kid. I'm like, oh, he's about to get penguined. He's about to get penguin fucking headlocked on the bench by the lake, by the river or whatever. And that's a wrap.
Pieces, Victor. Pieces.
Deuces. You're out. Won't be back for season 2. Flashbacks only. So I thought that was good. But I guess for me, I just don't care about that little arc at all. Like it's not as interesting to me as what should be a front running story, like Matt's issues with getting things done, his inner anger that like shit just keeps getting worse. Like it's too much split focus for me. There's just it's one subplot too many.
And I think that's the reason that they're doing it, is to build that chaotic thing, knowing that he needs to bring people together. He's not going to be able to pull this off by himself. He needs to get to that point.
like obviously a big focus of the episodes together, like we said before, is them building into the first of the vigilante trials. So of course they're bringing in Lalo Salamanca, aka the Swordsman, aka that's his name on Better Call Saul, and he knows it's a farce. The Tribunal completely knows it's a farce, but they admit their hands are tied. And walk us through that whole bit, because there's some shenanigans at play.
Oh yeah, because every time she objected, they overruled it. Every time she objected, every time the other person objected, they sustained it. It was like it was set up for her to lose. There was nothing that they were going to do to change the verdict. Even though they didn't put one shred of evidence that he was the swordsman, they never put one shred of evidence that he was out there doing vigilante work as someone named the swordsman. And they totally disregarded everything that they learned about Fisk first threatening him before he got thrown in as the into this anti-vigilante thing.
I mean, I would like to think that the swordsman would have had access to a better lawyer, because the very first thing she should have done before that even got to trial, 2 days or not, would be to file the injunction to have the psychiatrist report struck, because she's clearly has an operational bias because she's been the victim of a violent crime, aka a vigilante. Like that's exactly how you get struck out of a jury pool when you get called in for jury duty. You roll up in there and you say, oh, I've been the victim of several crimes. Oh wait, I've been the victim of an armed robbery, and you're going to do some grand jury armed robbery case. You write that down quick and you don't get called. You know what I mean? You get struck real quick. So that you could have had that tossed in a heartbeat, but it's a farce. And one of the better parts of that scene as it resolved was every time the tribunal was reading off a line of their finding, the swordsman had a reply. He'd be like, a farce. Yeah. Totally as expected. And this is how, and then the equivalent of this is how democracy dies, whatever he said. You know what I mean? So he was right there. And that I like that actor. He's solid. He's really good on Better Call Saul. He's great in the limited amounts of what he gets to do here. It's too bad they don't have more for him to do yet. I would have preferred to have seen him actively engage during the trial, and maybe get him on the stand and let him have some back and forth with the prosecutor. You know what I mean? That might have been interesting. But I feel like, just like She-Hulk, this is a show that could have had an interesting legal component to it, because it is a bunch of practicing lawyers and Daredevil, but like get into court and they get out. You know what I'm saying? Like they get in and out before anything interesting happens or anything that feels credibly like how that would work. Like, it doesn't need to be like a legal show, you know what I mean? Like procedural or anything like that, but like you could at least lend it some credence, some credibility.
Yeah, I think how they're doing it, they're showing like, I mean, you could go back to some, if you want to link it to real world stuff, link it to some of the terror trials that were out on Guantanamo, where they're talking about they weren't getting fair trials, which they were. It just, that was the perception of them being in a remote site like that. And they had to go through military tribunals, and there were people were released from it. But they're trying to make this like 100% evil. Like the mayor has something on everybody. And I think that's what they're playing at in this, that Mayor Fisk has something on everybody. And they have to play by his rules, or they're not going to play at all.
Definitely.
But you see the genius of the Kingpin as well in these 2 episodes, is where he's trying to hunt down the vigilantes. And of course, Daredevil's the leader of the vigilantes, because he's the known face that everyone keeps seeing. He hasn't been taken in. We haven't seen any of the Punisher yet, so he's like the face of this whole rebellion thing. And Kingpin knows he's Matt Murdock. The Vigilante Task Force, some of them at the top of it know that he's Matt Murdock. They even said, why don't you just say Daredevil's Matt Murdock? And he's like, no. He's like, that will make him a hero. He's like,
make him the martyr.
Yeah. You're the hero. And then he did the whole thing like, he's in trouble. Let's bring him in, the hero. That's
the part I forgot.
New York has.
That's the part I wanted to talk about, where the Kingpin actually does comic book like Kingpin level shit, where he twists the circumstance to his advantage. He knows that because public sentiment is shifting, because now we've gotten away now from the man on the street videos that are singing the praises of the AVTF keeping everybody safe, where now we're getting a little too close to home with how people are responding to ICE units doing their job. You know what I mean? We're mobbing scenes as they go down. So he knows that's a thing. So he says, "No, we're not going to go try to find Daredevil, the vigilante. We need to bring our hero home. He might be wounded. He needs our help. Let's put his picture everywhere."
Yeah.
And, that'll help.
He saved my life.
He saved my life. Right. So they're a good point bringing that up, because I think that's some Kingpin level stuff. And I like that.
He's been really good at spin, like the whole with the tainted truck. This was a terrorist attack.
Yeah.
And then it's like every time we try to do something, they spun it another way. It's like, yeah, you could look at it that way.
Yep. Some of that stuff's been all right. I've been okay with that. The other, I guess we get, it feels like that the par for course for this show is one good fight scene per episode, and then that they blow the budget big time in episode 3 with the takedown of Precinct 13 over there in Red Hook or whatever it's called there.
The Red Hook detainment facility.
Right. So Daredevil gets in, and for some reason this occurred to me about halfway through that scene. They're trying to figure out a way to get him in unseen so he can investigate and get the weapons and do this, that, and the other thing. And then he finds the prisoners, and I couldn't just leave him there, Karen. I had to get him out. I'm like, dude, you're Daredevil. I think you could probably just find your way in. Like, it's kind of what you do. You're basically a ninja. Like, just get in there. I don't get the difficulty here. All of a sudden there's a difficulty, but whatever.
There was also there was a nod to Stick in there by an over anxious blind sensei. That's how I got like this.
So he gets in, and he gets in because Karen somehow physically overpowered an AVTF officer and tied him to a chair, and they got his pass card. So he got the all access pass, 115-pound Karen.
Because he wants to help, because he's on the inside, and he's like, this is just wrong.
Right. Sure. Of course.
Yeah. And that's exactly how Daredevil thought. He's like, yeah. Sure. Uh-huh.
But he was doing the listen thing though, and I like that. He was like, he's not lying. He's telling the truth. That's cool. We're still gonna scare him though. I'm gonna hit you real hard though, and put the hood back. I'm like, okay, that seems all right. Whatever. They make the rush on this building, and they get a bunch of people out. The Swordsman is the only notable vigilante in this group, despite this being.
It was going a little too fast and really pick up on anybody else.
But I'm thinking the whole time, like, I get it that they've scooped up some agitators, like the Greek restaurant owner. I can't remember her name, but the one that was smuggling people out of
the aunt of White Tiger.
And she's the agitator. Like I said, the other one's the restaurant owner that was smuggling the two guys, the ship captain and the first mate. Because apparently you can't just leave New York. You can't get on the highway and leave whenever you want. I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess that's been shut down. But like the cages are full of those people and the Swordsman. I'm like, dude, where are like 4 or 5 other people that know how to throw hands in this situation? Because the Swordsman starts doing up people with like a piece of rebar and shit, and that was okay. Like, I'm with that. Like, he had a couple of flourishes, took a couple shots, kept going. That was cool. But like, they get outside, and Karen shows up with the truck, and it takes them an hour and a half to load 30 people into the truck. That felt like it took forever to me, while they're being shot at a lot. And Karen suppresses 3 armed units with her sidearm. That's impressive. I'll let her have her moment. That was all right. And then they leave, and I'm like, but you took one of their trucks. They don't get those low jacked. Like, they don't know where you're going. All right, cool, whatever. Do what you got to do. And then I'm sitting there the whole time, like, what else can you do in this show that's entertaining? Like, even the fight choreography, I feel like it's all just samey at this point. There's nothing. I don't feel any weight or stakes to any of the combat. And I should, because he does take some licks. He does. Daredevil, I mean.
Yeah,
he
I like his shots. There was one where he slid across the floor while they were shooting.
That was solid.
High. That was
solid.
Move.
I like that. There's these little flashes where I'm like, oh, all right. Let me actually dial in a little bit here. But I feel like for the rest of these 2 episodes, I'm waiting for something big to happen, and the only time I ever feel like that is when I want like the show or the movie to be over. Like when I've been through a Marvel movie that's been an hour and a half already, I'm like, all right, can we just get to the fight scene at the end so I can see the post-credit scene and know who's returning for Doomsday? And I feel like that's where I'm at with this show, and it's only episode 3, and that's not good. That's not good for me watching the show. It just feels like there's something lacking here. It's in no way, shape, or form as good as any Netflix Daredevil. Not even close. That's where I'm at.
I'm saying it's kind of on par to the later seasons. I mean, that first season of Daredevil,
perfect.
that was
untouchable.
That was Daredevil on screen from the
untouchable
the pages.
That's the best thing. That's the best thing I think Marvel has ever put on screen.
Yeah,
that's one season of Daredevil.
But I can tell what they're trying to tell, a complex story with multiple characters, and it just takes time to grow. And I don't think they're giving it the proper time to grow. We talked about this on Frostcast about, the 8-episode type run thing.
Maybe that's what it is.
It just isn't enough time to really build this story out like you want it to. But at some point too, that it would be a lot of filler in there as well.
Maybe 25 episodes isn't the answer. Maybe the answer is 12.
I think 12 is good. That's what Andor was.
Right. Was it really? Is it really 12? No shit.
It was 24 total episodes.
Huh. Well, maybe that's the range then for this kind of show, especially one that wants to be Game of Thrones in terms of having an ensemble cast, in terms of having 3 or 4 or 5 subplots going on besides the main character thrust. And for a show that they've run pretty close to 45 minutes plus so far through 3. I'll give them that. I think the shortest one was 44. It's been like 44, 47, 49 or whatever. It's been robust. I'll give them robust, right? But dude, I have this sinking suspicion that if you're telling me episode 4 is a banger, right? That episode 5 is going to be the 32-minute episode. You know what I mean? I'm like, here, this is why, because the next episode's fucking 47. And then the pacing's going to get all wonky. And then even if they set up something great with episode 4, I don't feel like, oh, dude, can we just have a nice, consistent ride? I feel like that it's just lacking from the MCU stuff on their shows. There's nothing. It never flowed. Like Wonder Man. Dude, who'd have thought we'd have been using Wonder Man as the template of what to do, how to do things? But that's 8 episodes that tells one story with a tight cast, and every episode's 43 minutes, give or take a minute. You know what I mean? There's not this big blip of things that just takes you out of what's going on in the foreground. And I feel like Daredevil's doing that a little bit. Every time I start to get invested in what he's doing or dealing with the aftermath of a decision he's made, we just get yanked into something else that isn't as interesting or intriguing.
So, when we talk about this Marvel stuff and their times and everything like that, we will not have to deal with that during this run, because the first episode, 51 minutes, second episode, 46, third episode, 47. Then it's 51, 50, 49, 44, and 51.
Oh, okay. Then just disregard previous take on going to be a curveball 32-minute. Good. And I hope that works out in their favor. But at that point, then, if they successfully avoid the filler problem that you brought up, they need to focus. They need to make what they do give us as interesting as possible. And a will they, won't they between Deputy Mayor and Bebe isn't that interesting.
It's not a will they, won't they. It's who's manipulating who.
That it's still a will they, won't they. I get what you're saying completely, but they're not that interesting. The interesting thing is, does Deputy Mayor get caught and fucking get his skull crushed? That's the interesting thing.
And that's, I think, what they're playing at is that. Yeah. Speaking of him getting his skull crushed, did you see the boxing practice? And he's doing updates, and the guy's like, I didn't think you were going to quit. And he came up and hit that dude.
Dude, that dude is now looking for a new job and something in hospitality. Believe me. Because that dude's entire side just got thunder fucking crunched in like confetti. That was a hell of a. How you gonna talk? Do you know he's the Kingpin, right? We all know, right? It's not just the audience. Everybody else knows.
Yeah,
right? Just saying.
That's why all of them refer to him as the Kingpin. He's done time in Rikers.
Come on now. It does not make sense to me how you gonna ag and provoke this man. It just doesn't seem like something you want to do, because he got blown up. He definitely got blown up. What else? Was there any other major plot beats here? I feel like we hit on the psychiatrist. We hit on Matt and we talked about Matt and Karen's relationship in episode 1. That is a comic thing. I don't know it was a comic thing. Daredevil's not my main reading thing. I thought that was something maybe the show cooked up, putting them in a relationship, and just
No,
leaving him
that was a
separated from Heather at
thing.
the end.
It's
Yeah, so,
more
I
of
mean, they
a
look good
on
together.
again,
That
off
works.
again thing, kind of
Yeah.
like him and Elektra was.
Okay. All right, then that tracks. They got all right chemistry together. I still think Karen's a better fit romantically with Frank. Honestly, like that's more interesting to me
Yeah, but I
because
don't
they're
think
both.
Frank ever really had a love interest in the comic books.
I never read a lot of solo Punishers. I don't know.
No, I never read
Maybe-
Solo Punisher. He was always just that cast member that would join up
Right.
and like bring chaos.
Right. Somebody like Ivan from our chat. Ivan, if you're out there and watching this review video, let us know, dude. You seem to be the expert in our comic materials. So yeah, we know. Speaking of Frank, we know he's going to show up at some point.
Yeah.
He'll be up for the be this as they mentioned him by name. Hey, you think Frank got out? He's always been there for us. Whenever I called, I'm like, dude, pun's coming. hold the phone. He's probably just recuperating.
I think he's having a huge issue with them using his symbol as their thing.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because it means
100%.
something different. Like what? Like he said at the end of season 1, he's like, "You guys don't even know what you're wearing."
Yep.
I think that is actually playing with him. That did I do something wrong? Where they think this is the right way or what it means.
Yeah, for sure. They could work into something like that for sure. Then they gave somebody a copy of the charter that allowed Red Hook to be a thing. That hasn't been resolved yet, right? Like he was talking to the governor, right?
Yeah, the governor, and the governor can resolve it. Like she can dissolve
Revoke,
it.
or she can dissolve it, revoke it, right?
Yeah.
Did that get resolved though, or is that
No, it
still something
didn't.
hanging over his? That's still hanging over his head. Like she can pull that anytime. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. See, so I mean that I like that. That's like a limited ticking time bomb for like the villain for a change. That's kind of cool. Like that's a problem he needs to actively pay attention to.
Yeah. He also might be realizing that he doesn't have enough power.
Oh, do 100%. Like if he's beholden to somebody that can yank the charter or the whatever it is, the compact. I don't know what the technical. I think they said charter.
Yeah, it'd be a
Like,
charter.
that shuts the whole thing down because federal agencies, state agencies can then just roll right up in there and inspect whatever they want and demand the books. And then you're boned. Like then that includes manifests, passenger logs, everything.
Not including going into all the buildings and finding their illegitimized detention center.
Well, I'm just saying. I'm sure that'll be cleaned up nice and easy. But 100% doesn't mean it means boots on ground and they can come take a look at you and shut. And that's probably how the season ends, to be honest. Like I'm guessing that'll be the thing that finally it'll be the Capone moment. You know what I mean? We couldn't get him on the murder charge, but we got him on the books. You know what I mean? Like it'll be that kind of thing. So we'll take a look at that though. I mean, let me ask you this though, as we kind of just wrap up the discussion on episodes 2 and 3. We kind of hit all the main points from both episodes, I think, pretty evenly. Like, is this show in your category of I'm excited to watch next week or no? Is it just something that comes up and you're going to hit it?
No, it's something I look forward to. I look forward to Tuesday, so I can see it. I like that. Well, I do believe that is all we have for this Daredevil episode 2 and 3 combo episode, as we're putting it.
Yeah.
I do hope you enjoy our quick review of it. Where we're confused, where we're liking it, where we're not liking it. Come back and join us for episode 4, which drops Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. And this will just be a 1 episode drop. So we will see you on the other side. We have Frost Chest coming up this Wednesday. Hope to see you all there.
Stay frosty, boys.